I want to speak about Arsenal. We're going to go back to Arsenal now because a bit of breaking news in the last little while that we've been talking. It goes back into our conversation about transfers. It is about Eze, but interesting update from Sammy McBell. Let me read this to you now. It says that Crystal Palace forward Eze's £68 million release clause expires 14 days before the start of the season. So that's tomorrow. He says from then, interested parties must enter into negotiations. From yesterday, how Eze's he's just like, so you can't just pay 68 million anymore. You've got to enter into negotiations. The feeling is they were willing to do on the release clause installments, but wanted 30 million pounds, so almost half of it up front, which is a lot more than most clubs pay in the first year for any transfer they buy. The feeling is now that Arsenal might be able to negotiate better terms, and that's why they've been waiting. You know, Liverpool are famous for this. They pay about £3.65 a week via Klarna for their deals, and everyone praises it. But Eze to Arsenal really does feel like it's going to happen, Giuseppe. But after watching today and pre-season and a lot of the creativity being condemned, how important now is this deal that you bring in Eze and you add that extra piece of creativity, goals, output to your front line?
Yeah. Listen. We need something else. I'm not gonna go too over the top. It's pre-season. Like I've said that I don't look at pre-season. I've seen my team batter teams pre-season, go into the league and do crap. I've seen my team do crap pre-season, go into the league, running riot and smashing teams. That's not the be-all end-all. But I do know we need something else. If Eze's the guy, I like Eze. For me, I'm actually on the realm of maybe Eze isn't the right option because I love Eze as a player, but I think the guy that we have to get needs to be the best in the left wing position. And I think Eze is more of the 10. That's his better position. He can play left wing, but I would rather go for an out-and-out left winger.
So Rodrigo, basically.
I would definitely go Rodrigo over Eze, and not because I prefer Rodrigo, because they're both great players and Eze's proven, but I just think that number 10 position, I know a lot of people reckon that it's Odegaard and that, but I really think Wanyeri's going to get a lot of time there this season, and he's the future. So listen, Eze will be a great shout, and I won't be complaining if we bring him in, but I'm not sure on that. If we can get him on a good deal, then yeah, of course. But everyone's saying Eze or no one. I just feel like Eze is great, but if we get a Rodrigo or a top left winger, then that's fine. We need some creativity. The game today, like I didn't get to watch it all properly because I was at work. But
it's a good thing you didn't watch it. You didn't.
Yeah, well, I'm happy. I'm happy I didn't watch it. But like, listen, it's pre-season.
Look at Henry smile as soon as we said that.
Like I even looked at our lineup, and I know what people are saying about the Norgard Rice stuff. But like Zubamendi is going to be playing most of our matches next season, unless he gets injured. Fingers crossed he don't. But I just feel like I look at them games and I feel like sometimes players ain't giving 100%. It's not the same intensity. I want to wait and see when the season starts because we need to go guns blazing from the first game. Because I will be on Arsenal from the first game of the season. We need to beat Man United at Old Trafford, right?
Do you know what I think it is as well? Ooh. Thomas Frank put out a very physical midfield, like three powerful runners in Bentancur, Bergvall, and Sarr. And as soon as I saw Norgard, Odegaard, and the other guy, I can't remember the other midfielder, I just thought there's not enough legs in there. Without Thomas Partey in there, there's not enough legs. Like we didn't even start with a creative player. We had no Maddison. We had obviously Kulusevski's just had his hamstring surgery. We didn't really have a wide player that is a goal threat. Kudus cut back and did a lot of his work. But I looked at it and just thought, you need to bring in a creative player who's got legs, and I think that's what Eze is.
Do you know? Do you know what the thing is though with that game today?
The low block you face today is what you struggled last year against Fulham, against Brighton, against West Ham. That's what cost you the season. Your record against the top six was unbelievable. But the difference between you and Liverpool is Liverpool put those low blocks to the sword and you didn't. And you don't. As great as Wanyeri and Max Dowman looks some hell of a fucking talent, you need someone else in there who's got Premier experience. And Eze for me would be a fantastic option. If you can get him I don't think this 68 million release clause, I think you'll get him at less than that. maybe the 50, 55 million mark. You need more creativity because Gyökeres, I mean, look, he had a 13-minute, part of a game. Anyone coming out and calling him, I see Glock 2, Glockaku, all this absolute madness.
Why am I on the screen?
That's a Glock.
Sorry, my finger slipped. Sorry.
What did he say? He said Glock 14 and
I saw Glockaku. I saw Glock Mua.
I didn't say that.
Across
I just
to a
called him
guy
Glock 14.
whose main
That's
attribute
praise.
isn't heading the ball. Like we took off both our centre backs and brought on Davies and Danso because we knew all Arsenal were going to do is put crosses in, and that's not Gyökeres' game. Like, and every time you got the ball on the edge of the box, I'm thinking, who's going to pick the lock? Who's the creative spark? You haven't got any player in your team who likes to shoot from distance. Like Declan Rice might bag you a free kick, but no one thinks.
Do you know what though, Henry? The irony about what you just said. One thing Odegaard actually did today. I only watched the first half, but one thing Odegaard actually did today that Arsenal fans have been screaming out for him to do, he was actually shooting. That he actually was. And this is the question I wanted to ask you, Giuseppe, and even the panel. Do you not think Odegaard will have the same season last season and you have it this season? Because I feel like we're too quick to write off players. I got the same energy for Phil Foden. I feel like Messi and Ronaldo have this thing where they've been phenomenal for 10 to 15 years, it's like it's not normal for a player to have one bad season. Once upon a time, this happened with regularity. Players can have one bad season. I feel like if the likes of Odegaard and Foden have another bad season, then it's a conversation. But the way everyone just writing off Odegaard, acting like he's going to have the same season this season as he had last season, I don't know. I think it's a bit harsh. I think we have to wait and see.
Bro, 100% we have to wait and see. Everyone just wants to write off players now. It's just this hate culture that there is now. Because at the end of the day, he went from having a phenomenal season to a bad season. And a bad season, not to make excuses for him, but there was circumstances in that, right? There was multiple things that you could look at last season and say he got the bad injury to his ankle. And he was obviously playing a lot of the season with his ankle still not 100%. He had a baby. Like, I know that's not, maybe people might not think that's an excuse, but if you've had a child, you'll realize that cannot, if you're already not confident, you got injured, whatever, you have a child, it's a lot going on in your life. Personal life can come into it. A lot of the Phil Foden stuff people say was personal life. We all want to say that.
Brother, none of this has to do with this child, bro. Just look at your manager again, please.
But because you want to say that, you want to say all this stuff.
Hey, just have it, man.
Because he's cooked under the same manager. What are we talking about here? He cooked two.
Stop doing that. Stop doing that. I've heard multiple Arsenal fans on this channel where they explain the regression of how you've been playing over the last few years. Last year was the worst of all years. You've generally went from the most attacking team to regressing every year until you became just a boring defensive team that lacks ideas last season.
I don't think it was the worst.
No. Hold on, bro. One second.
I don't
that's
think
lying. Because you're lying. Because we went.
What am I lying about? You didn't regress?
Because we regressed last season, but not the season before. The season before wasn't a regression from the season before that. We went.
Did you
January?
No, hold on.
We went from January. We went from January to the end of the season, only losing and drawing one game, and we were smoking teams 5-6 nils. We were smoking teams last season. Yes, we had a bad season once again. Same way writing off a player. Everyone wants to write off a team. Like, they can't have one bad season.
I'm not writing him off, by the way. I defend him of all people.
Yeah, I'm not saying
you, defend him
I'm
a
saying
lot.
in general.
It's just that manager who gets away with murder. We talk about having kids.
Getting away with murder
injuries. Crazy. We talk about everything off the pitch, and we just never talk about this manager. The guy puts him in the midfield. He's clearly not a 10. I don't know why people still think he's a 10.
Wait,
he has
who?
capabilities of a 10, but he's not a 10. The guy spends more time. One second, just let me finish and argue me. The guy spends more time.
Who you're talking about.
Oh, Odegaard, my bad. I didn't hear. I just knew you were saying something.
Odegaard's definitely a 10, by the way, but continue.
Okay, I'll explain to you why he's not a 10. Odegaard is not a 10. He clearly spends more time on the pitch, protecting the ball, maintaining possession. More times than not, he wants to make the safe pass than to be a risk taker. This is why when one time, I think Rums last season compared them to Bruno, I called out the hypocrisy in the Arsenal fan base. Because all these people will always say that Odegaard is better than Bruno, yet, when you tweeted that, everyone starts saying Bruno's better than him, yet no one will take Bruno in their team. Because you know what Bruno does? Bruno always takes the risk before he makes the safe pass. Odegaard is the opposite. Both of them are labeled as 10s. When you have someone like that, it is clear as days that Odegaard needs a little bit more technical people with him on the pitch, especially someone with a little bit more creative mind. If you allow him to play that 8 role where he can play a little bit deeper, yet he can still do things in the final third because I think he still has a decent shot on him. He has he usually I'll give you 1 or 2 killer passes a game, whether it pulls off or not. If you give him someone who's a little bit more of a risk taker, rather than give him a Norgard or a Rice who barely want to be on the ball, and he has to carry the heavy load of actually maintaining possession, yet you also want him to create for you during the game where no one in the midfield helps you, you end up in a situation where you call out him before you call out all the other players. Okay. The fact that he gets called out while Rice is walking on the pitch today, making 5 attempted passes in 50 minutes, 5 passes for an 8. He's an 8 and Odegaard's an 8, but one gets called out and one doesn't get called out.
Staffy, but we have, I'm not going to lie, you guys all want to jump on it so early. We are addressing that issue. Zubimendi addresses this issue, yeah?
No, I talked about a 10. I just said he's not a 10.
No. Because if you watched Odegaard against Newcastle, yeah, Odegaard cooked against Newcastle because he had Zubimendi on the pitch with him. He didn't have Zubimendi today. Zubimendi didn't play because we played Norgard.
That's not what I addressed. You're
no,
missing
but
my
it's
point.
a point. It's an important point.
But what I'm trying to say is, going into this season,
one second.
This is why you can't fight on.
You're not addressing what I said. Just please. Zubimendi helps you in the first third. All right, I agree with you. That was what Zubimendi's here for, to replace what Partey was doing. I agree with you. Playing with Zubimendi is going to help him a lot more than playing with Norgard and Rice. That is fine. I'm talking about the final third. That's where he gets most criticism. You want someone who wants to just keep the ball moving, who's a high-volume passer, who's not necessarily the biggest risk taker. By the way, if you don't agree with me, that one video of KDB where he put Bruno over Odegaard, you know why he put Bruno over Odegaard? He said, because my preference is a midfielder who takes more risks. And that's why he put him over him. So Odegaard by nature doesn't really play that way. If you give forget a 10. You don't even have a creative outlet on the left. All your creativity comes from him and Saka on that side. When that shit is shut down, you got nothing else to do. So you're always going to look at him and say, what else are you giving me? Yes. All fine to get Zubimendi, but where else are you creating on the pitch if it's not from Odegaard and Saka?
But here's the thing, right? So we're addressing these issues. This is what I'm saying. This is why everyone shouldn't be biting on us bloody pre-season before we've got all our signings in and everyone's embedded in the team, because the creativity, we're going to have Gyökeres, which is going to be
we only had one signing today with a new manager.
You didn't attack, you just set everyone back.
We didn't attack. We hit the post twice.
Henry, I'll come back to you in a minute, but yeah, you've only got one new signing, but that's not the point for Arsenal, is it? But what's that got to do with anything?
Well, the idea is because Arsenal haven't got the new signings and they can't play the right way.
No. If you're going to sit there and say they haven't changed anything from last year yet, well, it's in terms of creativity. Well, it's a moot point to say that you're a new manager and a sort of new side if they haven't added those new players in yet either, because they're the same side. They can't improve the creativity without the bodies, can they?
No, but with the players they've got on the pitch, they should still be creating more. We didn't have a.
We know they can't. That's the one thing I agree with Staffy. Like, we know they can't. We can't. Listen. There's certain things you can coach. You can't coach people to be Bruno Fernandes. I disagree, by the way, with your point, Staffy. I actually do think most clubs would take Bruno Fernandes. They say they wouldn't because they don't like him because he's a United player.
No, but that's what I said. Arsenal fans were saying they wouldn't take him.
If it was announced today, if we got, oh my God, biggest Ornstein bomber, Arsenal launches £80 million bid for Bruno Fernandes and he's agreed to go, Arsenal fans would get their wank sock out and they'd be like, bang, bang, bang all night. They would. 100. Every single person here for their team, maybe not now Liverpool with Wirtz, right? But every single person here would go, oh, my club signing Bruno. They'd love it. But equally,
Nami,
I get Spurs. Oh, listen, you guys need a central creator like that, a proper one.
Bruno Fernandes.
Not a Jude Bellingham who just runs around.
Nah, you call them sleepwalks into all of your teams.
No, you don't.
Not mine anymore.
You guys,
he don't even get Chelsea.
Chelsea
in Liverpool's midfield is better than
Cole Palmer.
Not Florian Wirtz.
Chelsea with Cole Palmer, I get why. But the rest of you, man, Chelsea and Liverpool aside, the rest of you, man, you'd love him. But the thing is, I can buy everything people are saying about Arsenal, and I think there's a lot of credibility. They need more creativity. Eze's that guy. What will Madueke do? We will have a look. I do agree with you, Giuseppe, that I think Gyökeres holding the ball up, doing a much better job holding the ball up than Kai Havertz does, is going to bring others into the game, and it's part of that creativity. but none of these guys are in or playing yet. So it's the only thing I would say. I can't judge the new signings until they're in and playing.